just kind of feels like a brick house. I honestly don't know how you'd ever get into this position without this training aid by your side. In fact, Clay was able to get his hands on some super secret Tour Pro data, so you can trust this was designed accurately. Hi, I'm Josh Eaton. I played about an 8 handicap, and today I want to tell you all about the very first training aid designed by Clay Ballard, the new B29 Blue Brick by Shotcraft Golf. Now, because I'm an insider, I'm going to be able to tell you a couple of things you're simply not going to hear anywhere else. Okay, so here's the plan. First, you'll see me unboxing the brick and everything you get with it. Second, I'm going to head to the range to give you an on-course demonstration of a couple of my favorite settings. And last, as kind of a bonus, I'm going to show you what I think is the best add-on to really get the most out of your blue brick. You're going to want to stick around to hear that because I think you'll be surprised by what I've picked. Now, as you may already know, the blue brick is a real Swiss Army knife of a training aid. It's designed to help you with everything from shallowing your swing and achieving consistent contact to hitting the ball before the turf, fixing a slice, perfecting your wedge spin, and even putting, if you're the rare person who enjoys practicing that. I like to say, get the brick for shallowing, but keep it because it does damn near everything you'll ever need. Let's open up this sucker so you can see exactly what you're going to get. Notice how the box itself sort of sets the stage. It screams Clay Ballard. It's got a sharp logo, solid feel, sturdy, but definitely not glamorous. And for those who don't know Clay, one of Golf Digest's top instructors and the guy who's had over 200 million video views, well, Clay likes to spend his time on the steak and not the sizzle. Personally, I consider him to be golf's preeminent craftsman, actually. So as we open it up here and see all the stuff that we get, gives you the website information. We'll get to these sticks here in just a second. But let's start with the main event, the blue brick. And every time I grab one, I can tell you the very first time I felt it, I was shocked at just how solid and substantial the brick felt. In fact, I'm not going to lie, I actually thought to myself, this kind of feels like a brick house. I don't think that's how the name, how they came up with the name, but you can see how they could. It's just really a solid product. Very nice looking as well. The dimensions I've got here, it's about 8.5 inches long, 5.5 inches wide, 1.5 inches deep. Real quick, I forgot to mention that the brick weighs 2.9 pounds, and just for frame of reference, you can see that it's almost the exact same size as a dozen golf balls. I think it's just about 1 inch longer is all, but the width and height are almost exactly the same. It will go, right in your golf bag. I've used it that way. I've seen other folks who bought one also use it that way. It easily fits there. And what's really great about it is you can take this out to the range with the sticks and practice with it, and nobody's going to give you any funny looks. In fact, they're probably going to be pretty impressed. You've got a very nice looking product here, and be just wondering how you're using it. There's other things that we've all probably used that make you feel silly or even humiliated out there. This is not one of them. It's just a very nice, very solid, sturdy product. It does come with, as we can see here, the two, I guess that would be two trifold sticks, I believe. There's two of those, so you can get going right away, even if you don't have any sticks. If you've got your own sticks already and you prefer to use those, that is fine. Just make sure that the tips don't have the little rubber tips on the end, or if they do, that you can remove them. This won't work with the rubber tips. It's just not going to fit in all the different holes the right way. And a heads up, I would recommend going and grabbing a couple of pool noodles off of Amazon or wherever you like to shop. They're maybe $4 or $5 a piece, and you can put one on each of the sticks, depending on whatever drill you're doing. It's not required, but just seems to work a little bit better in case you do occasionally tap one of the sticks. They'll last a little longer if you got a pool noodle around them. Lastly, just point out, this comes with an online video series. You can use a little card here. You go to the website directly. You can use the card. Just open up the camera app on your phone, scan this, a link will pop up, and you can click on it. It's also here on the brick itself. Very handy if you're out at the range. You don't have the card, of course, and you just got the brick. You can scan that, watch the video really quickly. There's a whole bunch of videos showing all the different ways to absolutely maximize each of the different settings and features of this brick. So very handy to take advantage of that. All right, now I'm not going to go through every single one of the settings and every single thing and drill that you can do with the blue brick. I am going to go to the course in a minute, and I'm going to show you a couple of my favorite ones, the most popular one as well as one of my favorites. But what you're going to do when you get your blue brick, like I mentioned earlier, is you're going to scan the QR code to get all the drills so you can see exactly how to set up all the sticks and all the slots and do all the different drills and get as much as you can out of this. But just very quickly, when it comes to shallowing, there's 3 different choices. One setting for driver, a 6-iron, a sand wedge. The 6-iron really can be used for any 3-iron to 9-iron, to sand wedge for any of your wedges. The one thing not to do, just don't use the driver setting for a 3-wood. I have been told there's been some damage that's happened whenever that's done, so just don't try that. There's an inside swing setting. If you struggle with the slice, that'll get that corrected really quickly. The shallowing also helps with that, obviously. There's a wedge impact position. I'll go into a lot more detail about this later, but that helps you get into the same position the pros to make sure your wedges are compressed properly with the right amount of spin and launch angle. Square divots, angle of attack. This is going to help you get those awesome dollar bill divots and get your angle of attack dialed in so you're not chunking and thinning nearly as much, if at all. The wedge launch angle, again, is another setting to help make sure you're launching your wedges. You'll be surprised at just how low they come out when you're doing it correctly. Really cool feature. And then there's slots for alignment sticks for you to use just to help you set up on the range and make sure you're aiming correctly. Now let's cover the three main ways the Blue Brick really sets itself apart from all the other training aids out there, according to the designer, Clay Ballard. First, the Blue Brick uses constraints-led learning. This is where an object is placed in a position that forces you to move correctly or you'll crash into the object. So all you need to do is set up the sticks in the brick and avoid them when you swing. You will automatically improve. Second, most similar devices force you to guess which angle to use for shallowing. But with the Blue Brick, you're working off data that only a few tour pros even know. In fact, Clay was able to get his hands on some super secret tour pro data, so you can trust this was designed accurately. And this isn't just true for the 3 shallowing settings, but all the angles and settings. This means every time you practice, you're building a swing that's exactly on point with the pros. Again, this data just hasn't been incorporated into any other devices anywhere else. And finally, because it feels like a brick house, its weight eliminates the need for extra stabilizing sticks like so many of the other devices require. Now it's time to go check out a couple of these settings at the driving range. First, we're going to take a look at the most popular setting right now, which is for shallowing the club. Second, I'm going to show you what I've been working on the most and my favorite, which is the wedge impact position. That really helps you get that forward shaft lean so you have great compression. You can launch those wedges low and spin them back just like the pros do. Let's go check it out. Here you see me setting up the brick to practice shallowing with a wedge. Fixing a steep downswing will give you much more consistent contact from swing to swing, help you hit the most solid shots of your life, turn a slice into a draw, and just give you a swing that looks much more like the pros. Here I've set up the stick for shallowing with the driver, and I can promise you that you won't believe exactly how shallow you actually have to swing. That shallowing stick is super intimidating when you are standing over the ball and see it in the corner of your eye. If you swing steeply right now, I can almost guarantee that you would never think to get the club this shallow without having this device here. Fortunately, I navigated on this shot, and all in all, I'm very pleased with my swing here. Okay, let's move on to the setting that's most helpful for my game right now, wedge impact position. The goal here is to get your hands well ahead of the ball at impact for great forward shaft lean. If you can get this right with the wedge, you can do it with all your other clubs, ensuring great compression for both more distance and consistency throughout your bag. Just like for shallowing, you simply cannot imagine how much forward shaft lean you need until you actually experience it. I honestly don't know how you'd ever get into this position without this training aid by your side. It's nuts how the pros make this look easy. You can even see here that it looks like I'm hitting a knockdown type of shot, just doing everything I can to get those hands in that position at impact. Fortunately, if you struggle with this like I do, Clay does include drill videos in the free series I mentioned earlier, so this can soon become an ingrained part of your swing. So here's the fun surprise I promised you at the very beginning of the video. I'm going to show you what I would add on to the brick to really get a heck of a lot more out of it. And guess what? It's another brick. So one of my favorite things, there's a number of ways to use 2 bricks together, but one of my favorite ways, because this is really what I'm struggling with, or of all the things the brick does, this is what I struggle with the most certainly, is getting that good forward shaft lean with the wedge. So what I like to do is I like to use one brick in the wedge impact position setting, like this is already set up now. Then I like to take the other one and use the wedge launch angle and use them in combination together. That really helps me, it forces me to focus on getting that real good shaft lean at impact, so I compress the ball and I launch it nice and low with lots of spin, just like the pros do. It's really challenging to do this and to hit both this position and the other position, but that's kind of what this is all about, is really improving and starting to hit those pro-like positions so that we can all play a much better game. First, I gotta say, I don't often see my swing from this angle, and it looks kind of cool. Now the point here is to keep the ball under the top of the stick. As usual, when you pull this off, you'll be shocked at just how low pros actually launch their wedges. But according to Clay's research, this is the height that gives you the optimal chance to consistently put a ton of spin on the ball. Somehow, I pulled it off here. All right, I've covered just 3 of the brick settings here on the range and shown you how simple it is to set up each time. But as I mentioned earlier, there's way more than I've shown you here. Okay, let's answer a couple of frequently asked questions now. Does the Blue Brick work for everybody? Yes. Whether you're a little younger, a little older, a little taller, a little shorter like a junior golfer, whether you're a beginner or even a seasoned pro, we've actually got a number of pros making significant improvements to their swing with this. The answer is yes. This is designed to work for everybody. I will say when it comes to left-handers, and we get this question a lot, all the settings work great for left-handers except for the wedge impact position. That one setting won't work for left-handers. There is a plan to make a left-handed specific brick, but it might be a little while. So I'd recommend go ahead and grab one of these right now, and you can still do all the other settings except for the wedge impact position. The other question that comes up a lot is how quickly can I expect results with the Blue Brick? We all want results very fast, of course. Well, that's what's amazing about this in constraints-led learning. You set this thing on the ground with a couple of sticks sitting out of it, and the very first swing, you know those sticks are there. Your brain, your body are not going to let you hit those sticks. You're going to do whatever it takes to avoid them, which means you will start making a more correct swing the very first time you use the Blue Brick. And the more you do that and the more you ingrain it, the more it will become a part of your natural swing. So you can expect to see immediate improvement in your swing literally the very first time you take the club back when you got this on the ground. Now that you've seen just how powerful the Blue Brick can be, you're probably wondering how much this is going to set you back. In my opinion, When you hear the price, you're going to think this is an absolute steal, and here's why. First of all, if you were just to try to do everything that the Blue Brick can do and get a training aid for each of those things, for instance, go get a swing plane training aid to work on shallowing, get an inside swing training aid to help fix your slice, get some sort of a forward shaft lean training aid so you can really hit your wedges low and get them to spin back and compress all of your irons better. If you were to go get all of those things, I looked it up online, you're probably looking at $300 to $500, and you're still not covering everything the Blue Brick can do. On top of that, just imagine trying to haul all of those things out to the driving range, even just get them to fit in your trunk, right? That's going to be a real challenge instead of just this compact Blue Brick device, which is about the size of a dozen golf balls. Much easier to handle. So what is it going to cost you? It's going to cost you $169 as of this recording, and that includes free shipping. Now compare that to the $300 to $500 or more, it's going to set you back to get a device that does all of the different things that this does. On top of that, go back to what I mentioned earlier about how Clay went to incredible effort to get the data that's required to nail every one of the angles and all of the settings here. What are the odds that that's actually been incorporated properly and that data was even available to all the folks who made the other training aids out there? At this point, don't worry about guessing, don't worry about hoping, grab the Blue Brick. Clay's done all the hard work for you. It's a heck of a deal. It's probably going to be the most valuable thing you've ever done for your golf game. Okay, so there's not much more I can say about this Swiss Army knife of a training, this brick house of a device. You already know that it can help you with your shallowing so that you make much more consistent balled and turf contact. You know that it's going to help you fix a slice and hit those sweet baby draws on command. You know that it's going to help you compress your wedges and launch them lower with a lot more spin so you can get the ball to dance on the greens and make more birdie putts. And yes, you can even use it to help with your putting. It just does everything. The only thing I'll say is, if you want to go out and grab one of these, I would do it right now because they have sold out time and time again. So find whatever link is around this video and click that and go grab yours today. It's going to be the best thing you've ever done for your game.